There's definitely a sense of place in the Cahaba homestead. I've lived here 34 years, like you said, and I've always felt that the community kind of knows each other and supports each other, and I think that goes back to the founding of how it was built when all of the different families came together at one time to create a community.
Well, for me, here we are sitting on our front porch. So it's somewhat of a front porch community. You've got sidewalks going in front of our house. You just see people walking by, walking their dogs, young mothers pushing their baby strollers, people my age getting their morning walk in. We'll sit on our front porch and speak to some of the same people every morning. You know, it's just pleasant. You can see the couple across the street, you know, playing their card game that they play, several times a week, on their front porch, and down the street, people just sitting on the front porch, children 2 houses down, new family moved in 2 houses down, they set up on the front porch, so it's just pleasant.
It's old. It's people that we know and people that we don't know, and they come from out of town. The ones that don't know, they will yell at us, "What is this?" And we just say, "Read the historical sign." You can't tell them, but they appreciate this sense of place. It has a vibe. I want to call it a soul. A lot of the historical places do to me. Not always a good vibe, but this is a vibe that means a lot to us.
Well, right after Sheree and I got married, and I was 21 or 22, the Air National Guard decided to send me to flight school, and we went to California. And for us, neither one of us had really traveled outside the southeastern United States, and to go from here to California, and we drove all the way nonstop. I left on Friday, got there on Sunday, and 24 hours a day to get there for school on Monday. We kind of got a last minute notification. And when you talk about culture shock, from here to Sacramento, California, and we were growing grocery stores out there, and people would say, "We want to hear you talk some more. We just want to hear you talk." And my poor wife, she was so intimidated by it at the time, but we made it. But it flat was a cultural shock. And you when you get in a place like Sacramento, California, in 1975, I guess it was, you really learn how different the South is from the West. Everything starts in California and comes this way. They had cash machines, ATMs in California when we got there, and I don't think they got here to maybe 4 or 5 years later that ATM ever showed up here. And when we would tell people in Trussville about these machines they had on the Air Force Base that would spit out money when you put your credit card in, they would like, "Oh, you got to be kidding now. We've never heard of such." But yeah, it was a cultural shock, and that's when I really realized how special Alabama was, how special Trussville was, and how special my Cahaba Project neighborhood was. When you get to California and your neighbor's house is like 4 feet from your house. I mean, the stuff that you see out there, the condensed housing and stuff, and how nobody knew anybody, and how everybody just, nobody spoke to anybody, nobody helped anybody. There was no such thing as like neighborhoods. It was really a cultural shock. Yeah, I know what we have here.
It does not. I know that these houses cannot last forever, but it is like any small town USA through here. And what we want to do is preserve that feeling that you get when you walk through the projects.
Well, it's like it looks like something out of a Norman Rockwell painting. And that's the cool thing about it. You come in here and the tree canopy, the houses that with all the metal roofs and stuff. You feel like you're you're in a completely, different kind of separated, almost isolated place right in the middle of downtown, which is, I think, really cool.